Broadcasting live on Theta TV, and it is Sunday, July 11th, 2021 at 7:01 in the morning. Yes, I get up that early in the morning to do stuff like this. I am that committed and that persistent, and yes, one day, this will be like the David Letterman show. Well, maybe not. But anyway, this is my crypto show. It's a video blog. It is something I do every day. I'm dedicated to learning about crypto and to eventually one day hopefully being full-time in crypto. But until then, this is my video blog just tracking my progress. And I've learned so much. I've been doing this since October 24th, 2020, and then broadcasting every single day since February 6th, 2021. And I've, had people like Uzika Bonhe here in the chat jump in, and people throw me questions and give me pointers and tips, and every day it's just like chiseling away at a sculpture. Something gets better and new, and so persistence is key, discipline is key, and if you build it, they will come, right? So today I have another guest. Yesterday I had Devin, and we talked about the traditional finance space and in DeFi because he was a former executive in the traditional banking world. And today I have Mike Philbert on with me, and I met Mike through the Bridge Protocol Telegram chat. And Bridge Protocol, if you don't know what it is about ID solutions in the crypto space that don't violate your privacy. And they have an amazing app that you can plug into your browser and kind of use as a ID passport. Well, this has nothing to do with that. Since then, me and Mike have been chatting, and he has also been growing and developing in the crypto space, and he is a cybersecurity professional. And he has bachelor's and master's in the areas of cybersecurity, and he is... His main concern is for safety and for a good entry and a gateway for people to come into this wild west of the crypto space, because we've all in the crypto space have been there right now, the go west young man type of philosophy. We accept the risks and we get into it and we jump in, and I've been scammed, and I know a lot of other people have, and I've lost some money and I've made mistakes, and I know other people have too, and Mike wants to help minimize this risk. So Mike, welcome to the show. Thanks for jumping on. And if you want to give a little bit of background about yourself, feel free. Floor is yours.
Yeah, absolutely. So like John was saying, and I just want to thank you for inviting me to the show. It's definitely great to be here, and an honor to be able to talk to your audience about things that's important to help them stay safe inside the cybersecurity space, and then of course all the additional conversation that we'll have. Hopefully, you'll gain some value from that. So I have 20 years of experience in the IT cybersecurity space, in the government, working in the military. I'm a warrant officer, which is considered a technical expert in the military, which is 2% of the population. So it's very, very difficult to kind of squeeze into that space to be considered a technical expert. So that's where I derive a lot of my experience from, the cybersecurity. When I got into the crypto space back in 2017, it was a little bit of a slow process for me because it was complicated, a lot of hurdles to get in. With the KYC, getting the exchange and making a wallet, it was a little bit of a process. But when I got into the space, I realized that I was going against my nature in cybersecurity by relinquishing a lot of personal information to all the exchanges that popped up at the time. Because when I came in, it was a mad rush. None of the exchanges were accepting people in because there was just too much volume coming in, so they were blocking new onboard folks. So I was just throwing KYC information out there, just trying to get in. So once I got in the space, then I kind of put my cybersecurity hat back on and say, what the hell did I just do? And and how can I put a little bit of a throttle into it? So like you were saying, we got involved inside the bridge protocol space, and what I realized is that there were a lot of other mics in that space. I got into crypto during the exciting phase, not knowing what they were doing, and they had a lot of questions. They didn't understand the technology, and they were saying like, hey, what's the difference between Civic and Bridge Protocol, or what's the difference between the Key, which is another identity management protocol, and Bridge Protocol. So I started writing articles to kind of demystify that a little bit for them. So we started a movement called Dynamic Mix, which is kind of a grassroots approach of creating content specifically to what people wanted to know about rather than what the projects thought was important. And then we pivoted from there, and we created a business called the Advisory Network, which focused on, kind of developing businesses from ground up to make sure that white papers were refined, make sure that the business management aspects, cybersecurity aspects of the business were all good. And then from there, we matured into, kind of this breakout project we're working on now, which is the Crypto Playground, which is specifically about educating users in a new and unique way, through simulated and virtual learning experiences. So that way, new folks that's coming into the space with no experience don't have to go through what I went through in 2017 of, relinquishing a lot of information without understanding, how do you do a KYC? What's the right way to do it? What do scams look like? You get the touch and feel of integrating into the space without the risk of actually relinquishing your information or doing the full process. And once you learn, just like flying a plane, once you get off that simulator, then you can get back into the space and do it effectively. So that's the goal of the Crypto Playground, is just to, create a great, next level learning environment for folks to get in. So that's where I'm at right now. And, just trying to leverage all my experiences for the benefit of the audience.
Yeah, that's a really good summary of what you're doing. I want to explain, because when I was first getting into the crypto space, I heard words KYC and AML being thrown around. So, do you maybe have a little background and break down exactly what that is?
Yeah, so there's this thing called the Bank Secrecy Act, which was put in place for like traditional financial institutions, and it kind of set a standard, to onboard customers, so that way who's coming into the financial space, and really they want to know, where's the tax money going, make sure people aren't doing criminal activities on the network, and just ability to tie financial transactions back to the folks that's using it, and making sure that they're entitled to operate in the space that they're operating in. For example, there may be country restrictions and things of that nature. So the know your customer process is just really an onboarding activity of gathering information about folks, and then the anti-money laundering activity is again about tracking and making sure that folks are not moving money illegally. So these are requirements by law for the traditional banking sector that kind of transition over to the crypto space as well.
Yeah, yeah. So a lot of people get into the crypto space because they really subscribe to the more libertarian idea of privacy and decentralization, and the fact that you can subvert the credit system in order for anybody to basically use the tools that the accredited investors use and things like that. So people try to get around KYC. What are your thoughts on this, and how much do you think is too far as KYC is concerned, and not far enough? And where's that line for you?
Yeah, so that's a great question, and I think there definitely is a place for KYC, because we have to clean up the space. We can't just hop into a new space irresponsibly and say, hey, we want control of this, and then kind of fling paint all over the place. I mean, if you have kids and they're playing with crayons, you probably want to put up some tarp on the floor and on the wall or whatever. So now we're like kids kind of going into a new space, playing with crayons, saying, take off the training wheels. We want to fling paint all over the place.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I think we have to maintain a degree of knowing who's operating in certain spaces. And of course, there's going to be a decentralized aspect to that. Like we have this DeFi stuff. A lot of folks are kind of tapping into that because they can interact, trade, and things of that nature, and they don't always have to relinquish full KYC. But I think when you take those regulations and those controls off, you kind of you kind of lose some value in security. And like things like, we don't want child traffickers
Yeah.
kind of sending money back and forth. Criminal organizations are also looking for spaces where there's no regulation. And we want to make sure that they can't hop into this new framework and say, now we can circumvent, just like people are doing it to preserve wealth and avoid taxes. There's other criminals that want to utilize the space, for nefarious activity, and we don't want to give those folks the advantage. So I'm open to, KYC process, for known exchanges. But again, I wouldn't go back to 2017
Yeah.
and just start opening up a KYC process on every single thing. But one more piece to that is, I love what Bridge Protocol was doing. They were ahead of their time, which allowed people to control their data. So that when you did a KYC process, they just verified your information, but they didn't store your information. I
Mm-hmm.
think that's the key piece right there, is just allowing people to share just the bits of information that's needed as a verification activity. For example, you're going into a club, they don't need to know your address. They just need to know that you're 18 years old. And I
Yeah.
think that's kind of like the evolution of the KYC process, is just giving the information that's required, and it's not giving everything.
Yeah, and I think that concept really solidified with me. I read it. I listened to an interview with Sergey Nazarov in 2018, and when Chainlink was just starting to happen, and they talked about the funneling via Chainlink as the oracle of off bringing offline data onto the blockchain, and being able to do exactly that, being able to show. For instance, a door person, a green light versus a red light on your phone, but no other information is disseminated, and people can only use the bits and the pieces of the information that is needed and that you authorize to give away, rather than somebody just being able to see everything right there in full plain sight, even unnecessary data. And
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, interesting. And as a cybersecurity professional, I'm sure that you have a specific perspective on this. And uh, how far is too as far as government overreach when talking about cybersecurity? I know back in 1991, the president wanted to make the senators wanted to make a clipper chip to get into everybody's, the back of everybody's computer. So
Yeah.
where's the line?
Yeah. I definitely think the line is kind of hopping into people's personal life space. There's a challenge right now with specifically encryption. There was a point in time where, and I'm sure you remember, when everything was just HTTP,
Yeah.
and that's what we had to type in, and then we went to this whole new HTTPS, where everything's encrypted. So, kind of while that made, transactions more secure online, it also made it more difficult for governments and cybersecurity professionals to utilize tools to detect bad actors, because now all the traffic's encrypted, and now things can kind of move easily, back and forth. So definitely made it more of a challenge, and kind of evolved the cybersecurity space.
Yeah.
The government is interested in finding bad actors.
Yeah.
That's what they're interested in.
Okay.
I think what's more of a concern than government is businesses that have monopolies,
Okay.
like Google and Facebook, and to me, that's what keeps me up at night is those guys, because you got to think, why is Facebook free? Why is Google free? Because they're using your data. They're using your data. And I remember when, I'm not going to drop no names, but there was a previous CIA director that said, the best thing that could have happened was smart TVs. At the time, that was the best thing that could have happened, because it gave folks access, a portal into homes. Right now,
Yeah.
we have Amazon Alexas, and we
Yeah.
have Google Homes, and we have all those things that are now giving ports into people's lives. But we relinquish a lot of information. We're concerned about privacy and what the government can see, but we don't realize that at the end of the day, we give away free information on social media,
Mm-hmm.
on our GPS tracking on our phone. I mean, we relinquish so much, but then we're concerned about privacy without realizing that what it takes to operate in today's economy, in today's
Yeah.
social network environment.
Uh-huh. So what do you think about then? I know that crypto is ideally supposed to be anonymous, and you have Ethereum and Bitcoin, and obviously you can do chain analysis and see where certain transactions have come from. Do you think it's possible to have a cash like crypto that could be floating around the space where it is 100% anonymous in the way that cash is? And I mean, do you think cash should be banned, or is it should we bring in more cash and make everything anonymous?
Yeah, I mean, when I look at countries like El Salvador, I've seen a few videos of watching them transact with Bitcoin, and it's so easy. I've been using my iPhone with Apple Pay, and I just go places and I tap my phone and I make payments, and I'm like
Yeah.
the cool guy in line when everybody's pulling cash out their pocket and
Uh-huh.
fumbling with change. I'm the cool guy, so I definitely think that we're moving into a digital economy. I think cash, by nature of the growth of the digital space, is being used less and less without us having to do anything, even before crypto came.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that there is going to be, like 100%. I mean, for governments, maybe there's going to be a kind of a private currency, maybe value exchange system. but I think it's going to be kind of slow rolling to get to 100% anonymous crypto exchanges.
Mm-hmm.
I think it kind of comes back down to the user of doing the best practices. If you read the Bitcoin white paper, and they talk
Yeah.
about not reusing the same public
Mm-hmm.
addresses, and there's certain principles that the user has to do to enact that level of like endured privacy. But there's going to be at some point in time, because of tax purposes,
Mm-hmm.
in most countries, where that identity is going to be like you're going to have to reveal it, at least in some way, shape, or form. The onboarding into the crypto space with fiat currency through Coinbase and things of that nature ties a bank account to
Yeah. Yeah.
address, and then there's a traceability to that.
Yeah, we have a couple comments here. Bantanic says, "Yes, ban cash, crypto rules." And then Gold 13 Dragon says, it's about more than cash. It's about freedom, not fake money." And I I was thinking of something. Yeah, crypto is anonymous, and Bitcoin is implementing the new Taproot upgrade, which will have some ring signature style
Yep.
updates. So it will make it more anonymous. You have cash, and you can just pay somebody $20 for mowing your lawn, and ideally, that's what the Bitcoin white paper is trying to bring across. Correct?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So
So back to the crypto playground. How are you going to teach people through those concepts and differentiate it from something like a CBDC, a central bank digital currency, that is more of a programmable money that some top-down institution can control the programming on top of that money? Maybe we could explain first what CBDCs are versus cryptocurrency.
yeah, yeah. So I'm going to kind of touch on that. I'm not super smart on CBDCs, but I do know, kind of going into how we're going to engage in educating people on how to utilize cryptocurrency, just like you had mentioned. If somebody mows your grass and then you want to, pay them. In the crypto playground, we're going to have various learning journeys that people can embark on. One of them is going to be an adopter. So somebody who wants to actually incorporate crypto into their everyday life. How do you do that? So
Uh-huh.
what we aim to do is to, again, like I said, create that virtual and simulated experience. So versus watching a YouTube video and reading a paper and then going and trying to interact in the crypto space from your mobile device, you'll have a virtual environment where you're going to actually see a virtual cell phone that's going to look no different than your actual interface you're used to interacting with every day, but it's going to walk you through step by step
Yeah.
and tasks that you would do to complete certain transactions. And then they're going to have like a social media aspect to that. So other users in that space, you can actually send them currencies, get the idea of how does a payment system work, how does scanning your QR code work by launching a
Uh-huh.
camera app. And then even in the virtual reality environment, if everybody has engaged there before, you'll be able to throw on your VR headset and actually be inside of a lounge, like a little crypto lounge where you can see avatars, you can interact with hardware wallets and things of that nature. So that way you can get like that the most immersive experience that you can achieve is like I'm in a crypto space. I can pick up a virtual phone. I'm holding it in my hand in a virtual space. I can see a QR code. I can scan things maybe at a virtual, retail place and scan a QR code and make a payment.
Yeah.
But we want to make it as immersive as possible, and then also introduce projects in the crypto space that help, integrate more cryptoness into your everyday life. So
Mm-hmm.
any projects that allow more of an adoption, we're going to model those into our environment. So that way you can also interact with those project concepts and say, okay, well, if I were to use, for example, Bitsong, I can actually, have like a Spotify music experience on the blockchain, and then you'll be able to interact with that project concept inside of our virtual environment and say, okay, now I understand how just like the internet has thousands of websites and services. The right now I think there's like 9,000 different crypto projects. Each one of them adds certain value to the adoption effort. So we want to model those into our environment so users can have that comprehensive experience.
Yeah. So are you familiar with Decentraland?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
so it kind of almost a metaverse type of experience in which you log in, and you're, instead of gambling like on Decentraland Casino, you would actually have an educational experience and set up your own wallet. So that sounds pretty amazing. It's so Decentraland is, if people don't know, is a metaverse in which you can use your Oculus or just use your computer, and you become that character and you walk around the space, and people, it's an open space for everybody, so you don't have to sign in. So yeah, that's a little different right there. But people can buy property and they sell property, and people are buying property and houses on Decentraland for, well into the hundreds of thousands of dollars right now. It's insane. Um, what you could maybe provide is kind of an aggregation of a lot of, you almost curate a lot of crypto tools that you think are good and can help people navigate the crypto space, and put them all in this platform. And it may be a really good way to almost even sponsor the project too, is by allowing companies to, after they're thoroughly vetted by your team, be able to introduce them to newer people in the space. I mean, is that kind of
absolutely. Yeah. That's definitely something that business to business engagements is a huge aspect of what we're trying to do. One of the pieces that I'm most excited about, like in the government, when we focus on cyber awareness training for users, the intent is to expose them to scenarios where compromise would usually happen. Like, what does a phishing email look like? What does piggybacking look like? If you walk into a secure facility, making sure somebody doesn't walk in behind you without, badging in.
Yeah.
So there's like, 2-hour long training that folks have to go through every year to get exposure to these ideas. So kind of leveraging some of those concepts inside of that simulated environment. A person who's never been in the crypto space before, has never seen a phishing email before, in the crypto space, won't know what that looks like until they get it the first time, and then they click on a link and they download a wallet with malware in it that compromise their keys, and then allows them, they start putting the currencies in these compromised wallets, and then there's of course the whole slew of events that happen after that. So inside of our simulated environment, you're going to see the malicious, simulated malicious email come inside your simulated phone. We're going to indicate people to say, hey, look at these things. These are indicators that, you probably should look out for. But they're going to get that exposure, to all the different things, and also real world things. If there's news that comes out and say, hey, there's an email that looks like this, or a website that looks like this, we're going to model that immediately into the environment, so people don't have to experience that firsthand. They'll learn about it. There'll be a notification center, so that they'll know about new compromises that pop up, and then we can keep them at the cutting edge of being secure.
Yeah, if you've ever been in a Telegram group, you get those DMs from the people acting as if you. I've gone into a Telegram groups for blockchains and asked some questions, and then they say, well, is it your wallet? And they try to fish out your private key somehow. I would like to go in and take a look at the back end and possibly see if there's an issue and stuff like that. And they try all types of snarky little tricks to get you to give up your private keys. And some of them are pretty clever. And so this is a great way to do it. And then also we have on YouTube those the commercials, the sponsored advertisements that pop up, and the content creators have no control over this. So audience, if you see my video on YouTube and you see Robert Kiyosaki coming up on in between talking about crypto with some asymmetrical airdrop, you send 0.5 Bitcoin, they'll send 2 Bitcoin back. That's absolutely fake. It's not true. So anyway, we have a comment here. Bantanic says, we're living in a digital era. COVID has got us all used to not using cash. And that's absolutely true. Right now, with the way things are progressing, we are all moving towards a cashless society. We're all moving towards a digital age. They're going to be dropping CBDCs on us. And so it's going to leave a lot of people behind, and as far as learning technology is concerned. And what is supposed to advance the society could potentially create a multi-tiered, almost caste-like society of people that can and can't use these stuff, and the people that know how to navigate this new crypto world, and the people that don't. So what you're doing, I think, is a great service. You have any little comments on the possibility of people being left behind?
Oh man, yeah. So that's like, I've been preaching that. I carry around my little crypto Bible everywhere I go, and let me see, where's my crypto Bible at? I got it over here someplace. This is my crypto Bible. It says crypto playground on it. So I walk around and I say, hallelujah. You guys,
Pound the pulpit.
So I smacked the Bible and said, you guys don't want to get left behind, because I tell you, we saw this with the age of the internet. We saw this with mobile phones. There's been so many paradigm shifts in our society that people have not read the writing on the wall. And when it happens and it's widely adopted, people are fumbling into the space. They don't know what's going on. And you hear that comment all the time about stacking sats, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then people say, I can't afford a Bitcoin, so I'm just gonna just not get into it. It's $33,000. I can't afford it. I'm not getting into it. But the lowest denominator of a Bitcoin is a Satoshi. And I kind of tell people, don't focus on buying a full Bitcoin. Just invest a little bit, stack those sats, because I think we have like less than 1-2%, people globally kind of using Bitcoin. But when that increases and you have, a million Satoshi, like 0.1 Satoshi, 0.1 Bitcoin, which is like around I think 1 or 10 million Satoshi, you'll be doing pretty well if Bitcoin goes to $10 million with 50% market penetration in the future. So, just understand the space. Even if you're not investing, educate yourself, read about it. It's a paradigm shift. The world is changing. Like you said, we're going completely digital. And I really loved Michael Saylor, the CEO of MicroStrategy.
Oh, yeah.
He recently did a YouTube video with this YouTuber where he totally dominated his channel for 2 hours, which I'm trying not to do on your channel. But he totally took over for 2 hours, and he was talking about how there's been this dematerialization of different things in the physical world into the digital space. So he said back in the day we had libraries that was all over the place. Now it's been dematerialized into iBooks and Audible. Then we had e-commerce that's been dematerialized into Amazon. And now we're seeing like the physical dollar and asset classes being dematerialized into Bitcoin, and even gold being demonetized into Bitcoin, because Bitcoin in the US is considered property, so it's a property versus a currency. So the world is changing, and people need to kind of, pay attention of what's going on and start to slowly educate themselves. So when the switch gets flipped and everybody's fully accepted it, then they can actually, be profitable.
Yeah, and you make a great point about the Satoshi denomination as well, and about even gold's going digital. Bantanic here says even collecting on art and antiques has progressed to NFTs. And Gold Dragon says, make my son and family, they want them to buy Bitcoin also. I've gotten my mom to buy Bitcoin, and she had the same thing. I don't want to I can't buy a whole Bitcoin. I can't buy a whole Ethereum. Right now, $2,000. Who wants to do that when they can buy some total shite coin? And I'm just like, no, don't buy SHIB. I know you can buy SHIB, 150 million SHIB for $1,200, but don't do it. So, and that's another thing too that I think is coming to the space that it's potentially damaging, is a lot of these crap coins, these meme coins, and it's my little conspiratorial mind thinking this is a psyop, but in order to stomp on the reputation of cryptocurrency, could it be there deliberately, in order to do so? Did Elon Musk steer everybody towards the Dogecoin just to steer everybody off course? I don't know, but I'm just saying that people need to educate themselves and figure out what the fundamentals are and where the good stuff is.
Those coins, meme coins, they're exciting for people because they're cheap, they're speculative, and they look at what Dogecoin did. And they just think that they're going to get rich quick. But you're right. They definitely give a bad name to the crypto space, because most folks I talk to that know nothing about crypto know about Shiba Inu. They know about Dogecoin. And that's what, every time that we talk about investing, that's the first thing they come to me about. And they say, what do you think about Doge? I'm buying some Doge. Elon Musk tweeted. So you have Elon Musk, you have Dogecoin. That kind of is the headline for people's understanding of cryptocurrencies. And it kind of sets that pattern of cryptocurrency is meme, cryptocurrency is fake money, cryptocurrency, and that's the overarching idea. But what about, like we talk about Chainlink and Ethereum and Cardano and Ripple and Stellar Lumen and all the projects that are, have real purpose and are solving real problems. Those are things that we need to, start headlining more. I was in Dogecoin when it came out in 2017.
I had a bag of Dogecoin. That was one of the first cryptos I bought because I could buy a lot of it. Dogecoin, And I don't know. Some of the other coins of fundamentals that I like too is Theta. Obviously, Theta TV. We're brought streaming live on it, and that has amazing fundamentals. And large corporations are jumping on the Theta network and going decentralized because they can save a lot of money instead of these centralized content delivery networks. So that has an amazing use case. And a lot of times, if you want to appreciate and value, yes, there's some of these super secret, privacy coins out there and everything like that. But sometimes you just have to follow the money if you want to make money. And this is why I've been, following the Theta path as well. Not only is it an amazing project, but it is really, following the money. So
Yeah, and I will add to, I wouldn't discourage people from taking advantage of these meme coin hypes, but you have to manage your risk.
yes,
Yes, and that's the biggest part. I mean, I've gotten into some like SafeMoon is one of the projects that I bought into. I put
okay,
money in there, and I said, the reason why I like SafeMoon is because they're focused on token economics. They seem like they're actually trying to do things. And one of the things that made me bullish on it is that they're based in the United States. The CEO is actually a former soldier, so he's
okay,
ex-military. And I said, you know what? This guy doesn't want to go to jail,
yeah,
and he knows that if he makes a project that is totally a pump and dump, that he's going to have to pay the
yeah,
piper,
yeah.
especially if he puts the money too much. People lose too much money. So yeah, I put money in there, just letting it ride. So definitely, I say take advantage of the hype. We see what with these communities like the apes pushing
Oh
AMC
yeah,
and GameStop.
I've been a total ape. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm guilty.
What they can do. Yeah.
But I did not know that about SafeMoon. I just figured it was right along the lines of Shiba Inu, and I steered absolutely clear from it. Maybe I will do an episode looking at it and just kind of talking about it and try to be as unbiased as possible. Let's see here. Bantanic said, I buy a Eureka John NFT for sure. I did mint my own Eureka token on Theta platform just to try it out. So send me your Theta address, people, and I'll send you some Eureka token. Not saying it's going to be worth anything, but...
if they just do a screenshot of your face right now, then maybe...
There you go.
I'll get 5% of the profit because I'm in the bottom corner.
There you go. But you're absolutely right about accepting the risks of some of these meme coins. It's people say that it's a psyop, it's terrible, it's just but it is what it is. It's technology for better or for worse, and technology can be good or bad, and it can be used for good and bad motives. And you just accept the risks and know the differences between the fundamental tokens and then between these meme tokens. That it's just a game. That's all those are, is a game. And if you're willing to play that game, then by all means.
That's why Wall Street likes Bitcoin. A lot of institutions are liking Bitcoin because it's really about volatility. If there's no volatility, there's no opportunity to gain. And a lot of these coins that come out are extremely volatile and speculative. So when people get into it, there's a great opportunity for them to make a lot of money, and there's a great opportunity for them to lose a lot of money. But you can't lose more than you put in. Which is a good thing because unless you're doing some type of options trading. But yeah, just got to manage your risk and really know what you're getting into. What is crypto all about?
Yeah. Well, the more acceptance that Bitcoin gets, I see the more stable it's going to become with this critical mass that's been gaining. If you compare the percentage spikes and drops from way back in the early days of Bitcoin to now, it's still, it looks crazy, but it's settling down in comparison, relatively speaking.
That's what Mike Saylor was talking about how the U.S. dollar has lost like 95% of its value, whereas Bitcoin has went up like thousands of percentage from where it started. And he asked the interesting question. He said, if you were to own Manhattan back in the 1800s, if you were to own property in Manhattan back in the 1800s, when's a good time to sell Manhattan? And he was like, right now there's so many businesses built on top of that property. He said the answer is never. You pass it down from generations. That's what we're talking about with Bitcoin. Is that the Bitcoin has been out since 2009 when it first got launched. So it has over 10 years of proven security. It's like being looked at as stored of value. It's been regulated. There's not a good time really to sell Bitcoin. I'm bullish on other things to kind of buy and trade, but I think for me, I've collateralized a lot of my assets,
Mm-hmm.
and just kind of just trying to gain interest on them, using things like Nexo Bank, or some of these other
Mm-hmm.
crypto banks, because I just feel like in that space I can borrow against it. I don't have to sell it,
Yeah.
if I need to use it, and I gain interest on it. So that's the way I'm looking at it, because I'm definitely not trying to use it to flip 1 year later,
Mm-hmm.
and then just to watch it get global adoption 10 years later.
Yeah.
And I'm
Yeah.
like, crap, I could have owned a piece of the world's wealth.
Yeah, no, I've done the same thing. I locked up a bunch of Chainlink on Celsius and borrowed it and got some cash so I could get a really good down payment on my car. So I subverted the credit system in that way. And then I've also locked up some Ethereum in Aave and borrowed DAI against it and put them into platforms like Bancor and Alchemix and things like that. And it's accumulating yields in various different places. And I don't have to sell my crypto.
Yeah.
It's providing passive income and value, and it's generating generational wealth.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
they said in the future, not a lot of people will actually own one Bitcoin. So, and most people is going to own Satoshi, obviously, because the prices have become very difficult to get to. So, I would say know what you want to sell, know what you want to hold. Investing is the difference between traders and investors, and 1 2 year holding is not investing.
yeah.
We're talking 5 10 years, to kind of put yourself in the category of I'm investing in Bitcoin versus just trading on it.
Hmm. Well, I wanted to take a look at your website real quick and show everybody. Yeah, I have it up on my screen. I don't know if you can see it. To be honest, I'm not really that great at sharing my screen and stuff on this platform. If you know how to do it, by all means.
Yeah,
Um,
let me see. Yeah.
yeah.
There's a little button at the bottom that next to the hang up button that says present now.
Okay.
I think you should be able to click on that, and it'll hijack the entire screen and put the website on there.
Okay, let's see here. Present now. All right, so I guess my entire screen. Let's see here. And I will do screen two and share. Okay. Okay, here we go. So I want to show the website, and can you see that?
I can.
Okay. So, all right. So this is the Crypto Playground website right here, and this is what's going on, and you can download it. It would be an app, correct?
Yes, so it's going to be an app. It'll be a desktop environment, and it'll be a VR experience. So there's going to be three different platforms.
Okay. And then you can just log in separately from all these different ones to the exact same place as an account. And here's where you sign up to get rewarded with early
Yeah.
access here.
Yeah, and that's what we're encouraging people to take a look at the site and sign up at the bottom. So they'll get all the newsletters as we make progress moving forward. And also when the platform launches, everybody will get early access. Once the mobile app is actually delivered.
Okay. Yeah. This and then here's the blog here, and I read the For Richer and For Poor blog post, and I talked about it on one of my episodes recently here. This is a really good article, and it explains what your mission is and the whole idea of this creating almost a multi-unbanked class, multi-caste society if people don't catch up and are educated. So your mission is out here to educate people on all these new developments, and I really like the way that you articulated it in this article.
Yeah, what I thought was interesting is, as El Salvador is aiming to adopt Bitcoin as legal tender, I think we have like another 60 days before it's fully rolled out. What they
Yeah.
realized was that a lot of folks, in that country didn't understand Bitcoin. So the president has been making some direct efforts to educate folks. And even with that, I read an article where they said a lot of people were still not comfortable, even with the, asynchronous learning that he's been doing, saying, here's some slides, here's an example of how it works. People are still uncomfortable with operating in it in that space. And I really think it comes from needing to actually physically touch something to learn.
Yeah.
And I think that's the gap. And as we have more and more countries that adopt it, then we'll be, kind of first in the chute to say, hey, like give your folks, this learning tool so they can actually learn. And then we're also trying to aim for social impact. We realize that there's a lot of countries where women are disadvantaged and have the least amount of financial education. So we're aiming to line up with some nonprofits to deliver financial education through the platform to women in some of these countries overseas.
Yeah, that was another point that I'd never really thought about, and I guess just being a guy, but the disadvantage that women have in a lot of countries about not being able to use financial tools. You want to explain that a little bit, possibly?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So I mean, it's been a cultural thing, right? We have like sub-Saharan Africa, 50% is not actually tied into the banking system. Of those 50%, 50% of that have access to mobile phones, where the other half don't. And in those cultures, normally women don't participate in handling any type of finances. They're not educated in that space. They're kind of given traditional roles. So now, as things are changing. The unbanked will now be able to, participate in the global economy, just using a cell phone to be able to have a currency that's accepted on e-commerce websites. A lot of them don't know how to engage because they never had an opportunity to either get a bank account, or maybe societal rules have said that this is not your role. So as evolution happened and equality is kind of being kind of adopted, there needs to be tools in place to let women in these countries that are kind of getting modernized, as far as the way they engage in gender roles. There needs to be tools in place for them to understand how to invest, how to interact in a space where they didn't have an opportunity before because there was either no infrastructure or there was no acceptance.
Yeah.
And we're trying to get in front of that and say, hey, you never touched a bank before because it wasn't there. We're going to show you how to do that effectively, giving you tools that you can actually touch and use before you get involved in real life.
That's rad. Yeah. I hear articles and people talking about, we have all our telephone poles and cables laid out everywhere and all that stuff. And then, countries in Africa, they have little mud huts, but they're able to transact back and forth crypto. And in a lot of ways, a lot of these countries that we call third world and underdeveloped are going to surpass us because they're going to become well versed in the crypto platform in a way that we won't be able to because we have to overpass all these regulatory hurdles. So
and I love that we're kind of evening the playing field globally, because I always say, like I'm from America, I'm from Brooklyn, New York, but I always consider myself a child of the world.
Yeah.
And I would really love to see a future where everybody's included in this creating wealth, participating in e-commerce. I just love that idea, and I definitely want to be a part of kind of hitting that social impact aspect.
Yeah, you're doing a great job of it so far, and with this crypto playground, I think this has a lot of potential. I will put the links to the crypto playground and to the blog post in the underneath the video on YouTube, BitChute and Odyssey, so you guys can go check out for yourself and fill out that form and jump in to become an early user. And spread the word. The more you spread the word about crypto and in a safe place to educate people on it, the safer it is for everybody, and the more with the rising tide, it lifts all ships. And so this is exactly what Mike is trying to do with the crypto playground, and what we can all do by spreading and helping safely educate people and show them what the scammers are, who they are, what they look like. And how to safely navigate meme coins versus fundamental coins, and everything. So the time's up. We've gone 43 minutes. That's great. I would normally do the show for 30 minutes, but we had a lot to talk about. It's like the time just passes right by. I go into a time warp sometimes on these shows. Whenever I get the flow, and me and you seem to have a flow right there, and everything just kind of went really quick. So I stick around for a little bit after this. But I'm going to close the show. I'm going to put on my reggae outro music, and Bantanic and Gold 13 Dragon and Blamby. I appreciate you guys jumping on, and I see a Theta address right here. Gold 13 Dragon, I will send you some of my Eureka tokens. So just to have. Who knows?
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
so you can't do crap with it. So, but I don't know. Maybe I'll attach it to an NFT. But Bantanic says, take care, guys. And all right. And same thing with Gold Dragon. Says, thanks, nice bros. All right. So, all right. Take care, guys. And I will talk to you tomorrow. Bye.